Welcome back to Saturday Social, where we are joined by Cams and Luke. Right, there've been a lot of transfer rumours, sort of summer transfer rumours bubbling away this week, Joe. So we thought it'd be a good time to pick out some of the biggest rumours, some of the best rumours as well, let's be honest, and put them into our Saturday Social hit or miss category. Now, importantly, we're judging this as a potential signing, so whether it be a hit or miss for the rumoured club they are linked with. Some big names.
Yeah.
We cannot not start by talking about Kevin. Does that make sense? Cannot not start. We're going to start by talking about... We have to start, is what I'm trying to say, by talking about Kevin De Bruyne. Big news this week that he'll be leaving Manchester City at the end of the season. Luke, you look like you're about to cry there.
I could cry, mate. Honestly, I was absolutely gutted.
What was the reaction when you heard that?
Well, he was just punching the floor in anger. Like, I really wanted him to stay. I know some City fans were probably thinking he was coming to the end of his time. But for me, that's our best ever player. He's my favourite ever player for City, personally. And I was gutted. I think he had another year in him, but the sacrifices he's made, like in the treble season, playing with injuries, stuff like that, for the team will never be forgotten by City fans. And that's why I think, you know, that he's embedded his legacy. He's won the treble, 6 Premier League titles. Yeah. Maybe it's his time to go. That's the decision he's made, obviously with his family, whatever. But yeah, unbelievable player.
So he's your favourite ever player to watch in terms of Premier League legacy for Man City? Obviously, you've had Aguero, you've had Company, David Silva. There's so many players. Where does he rank in terms of the greatest Premier League players City have had?
I think he's number one. I think winning the Champions League is something the other three, you mentioned Company, David Silva, Aguero, they didn't do that. They didn't quite get there. But me, Kevin De Bruyne, 10 years he's been here. The numbers he's put up, the person he is, the player he is, unbelievable player. And yeah, I think he's number one.
Cams, and in a wider conversation, where do you think De Bruyne ranks in terms of the greatest ever Premier League midfielders? And get off the fence, don't say one of the best. I want to know where you rank him.
It's a tough one because I feel like when you're talking about the eras, it's such a hard thing to do when you're talking about, for example, like a Paul Scholes compared to a KDB, especially where KDB kind of took up the positions on the pitch. I do think that in terms of his generation, I think KDB is the best player of his generation. I'm talking the late 2000s to 2020s. I know there's Mo Salah, I know there's Van Dijk, but I think if you're talking about quality, I'm talking about them title races when it was on the line. KDB was there always. I think I can close my eyes and think about Wolves away. You know what I mean? That assist to Gundogan in the Aston Villa game. That when he came back against Newcastle, the minute he came on with his hair looking like Super Saiyan Goku, everybody was like, the league is over. Yeah, Arsenal fans were like, oh, it's over. We go again next season.
Klopp said the country was shaking, didn't he? That's what he said when KDB came back.
That's the effect of KDB. I just think he's such a good player, man. He's so good. So I think he's the best player of his generation, honestly, in the Premier League.
Where do you think he's going to go then? Let's get the magnet up, because there's rumours linking him to Saudi. There's rumours linking him to the MLS. What should you think is a better fit? Where do you think he'd end up?
I think he's a very family-orientated guy. And I know maybe it doesn't, you know, people are going to say, how do you know? I think it's pretty common knowledge, to be fair. I could see him going to America over Saudi. I don't know, that's just what I think.
Do you know, I can see him in the MLS as well, actually.
You think Saudi, though?
Yeah, I think he's going to... I mean, we're looking at the rumours. It's felt like it's been Saudi. He's been bubbling for quite a while. And, you know, of course, the money that he can earn there, they're trying to build their profile. I think KDB is probably going to go there. And I think, you know, he deserves to, you know, go and get the money. You know, he's had a brilliant career. His legs are going. I think Saudi is his destination, man.
Wherever he is, though, it's a hit, right? Wherever he goes.
Yeah. You got to pay respect. You got to pay respect.
Yeah, you can't really say all of that and then still miss.
Next up, a rumour about a potential replacement for Kevin De Bruyne this week, and that is Florian Wirtz. He's been linked for a long time now with Manchester City. Is he the ideal replacement?
People calling him like the German Foden and all sorts like that. I think he'd be an unbelievable player, and I think the connection he could have with Foden would be unbelievable, especially Haaland in front as well. This feels like, you know, when we were signing De Bruyne 10 years ago, it feels like that kind of signing, a player that could come in for 5-10 years and be that guy. So, yeah, Florian Wirtz, a lot of City fans are very excited by this one. I'm personally very excited. And I think it's going to be a big price tag, but we've got money to spend, and yeah, I'm happy.
It's a big price tag, but he's only 21. His technical level is so high, and you know, people have been saying in the past, oh, we've only seen it in the Bundesliga. This season, I think he's got 6 in 9 in the Champions League for that Leverkusen side. Multiple roles. Perfect, Cams, you think?
I think it's a perfect signing. I think anyone else in football at the moment, if you're looking at a KDB replacement, I think this is the one. And you're looking at his dribbling ability as well, which his tight spaces, he feels like he can play in a Pep Guardiola team.
I totally agree with that. Very Pep player, isn't he?
Yeah.
The way Pep wants to play and how easy he is on the eye and the numbers that he gets.
Let's get him up then. This is tap in for hit.
Yeah.
OK, let's move on. We're going to talk strikers.
This was a big rumour, wasn't it?
Gyokeres, big rumour this week. Gyokeres linked with Arsenal.
Yeah.
How important is it that, well, is he, firstly, the right man, do you think, for Arsenal?
I think Arsenal fans, especially, they're obsessed with the thought of Isak, right?
You were taking some heat, weren't you, for the Gyokeres on social media?
Yeah, I was. But I think when you look at Gyokeres, look, I've seen Nketiah score a hat-trick in the Arteta system. I've seen Moreno scoring goals. I've seen Kai Havertz scoring goals. Arsenal just need a man that knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. And Victor Gyokeres is somebody that can do that. Now, we are going to see if he can adapt to the Premier League level. But I think in this Arsenal team, they will make it seamless for him. Big, strong, he's fast as well on transition. One thing that I think Arsenal are not the best at is being a transition team. He is going to offer something completely different up there. And I think I would not be surprised if he goes to Arsenal, scores 20 goals in his first season. This is a proper number 9, and I think Arsenal is perfect for him.
Yeah, I think he's a natural finisher. We saw him at Coventry a couple of years ago. The guy, I know that's a championship, but you can't deny the goals he was scoring at Sporting. He got a hat-trick against City.
Yeah, you've seen him this season.
I saw that live, unfortunately. And yeah, I think he's just a solid goal scorer. I think that is a good signing for Arsenal.
What was he like watching him live?
Yeah, he was good. He actually did miss. What's mad is he missed a big chance at the start of that game, so he could have even had more. I think he's a good player. The age, people do seem to think he's this young. I think he's 26, 27. There you go.
Perfect, man.
So maybe that is the perfect age for they're signing a proven striker who's been scoring in the Champions League at high European level.
Okay, wait a minute. Another hit. Will we ever find a miss?
Will we?
In the transfer
Should we go
rumours of
from
the
one
week?
Swedish striker to another?
This rumour has kind of picked up a little bit of pace, but I have to say, I don't see a world in which he leaves Newcastle.
I was going to say that. Can you see him actually, particularly if Newcastle get Champions League football, and bearing in mind the price tag they would demand, can you see him leaving?
You've got to weigh it up. It's a net. You've got to look at the net position. If they sell him and they don't get Champions League again, they're losing big money on that. So they've got to kind of outweigh whatever they get for him by thinking about what they could lose by losing his goals, and they've got to replace him as well. I think you'd look at 150 million.
But that's what I mean. Even for the incoming club, it's a big amount, obviously, with profit and sustainability now and all of those that you got to adhere to.
There's no buyer for his value.
It's a big price tag either way, isn't it, for whoever buys him?
Yeah, I think whatever his value is, whether it's 120, 150 million, I don't think there's a buyer there, and I don't think whatever a club would put up, if Liverpool put up 100 million, I don't think that's enough for him to go.
Yeah, I think he's staying. I think as a rumour, I think this is a miss. I think he is unbelievable, Isak, but I just can't see him ending up at Liverpool this summer.
Yeah, if it happened, it would be a hit. But
just stick him in miss because it's not going to happen.
Okay. Let's go to another Liverpool rumour. This one, I think a lot of people feel like this one could have legs come the summer. Milos Kerkez has had an amazing season at Bournemouth to Liverpool. What are your thoughts on this one, Cams?
Perfect. This is a perfect signing, in my opinion. I think Kerkez is a brilliant player. You see him, his crossing ability, his engine. He gets up and down. And it's a little bit like Robbo when he was coming in. And Robbo's been unbelievable for Liverpool. What a servant. One of the best left-backs, I think, in Premier League history. But I think now it's time to get a replacement in. And I think Kerkez is the perfect replacement for him. I think everything Robbo offered, he can offer as well. 7
Premier League goal involvements as well this season, by the way.
It's crazy.
Does it feel like, for you as well, that this is, of the ones we've done so far, the most likely to happen? Yeah,
I think Anthony Robinson was an option for Liverpool at a point, but I think this Bournemouth team's going to get raided. I know we're going to come on to some other players they've got. They've got some really nice players, and I think Liverpool going for Kerkez could definitely work out. I think that's a hit.
Okay, me too. Okay. Next up, we've got Cunha to 2 different clubs here. So let's do both magnets. Let's have a look at the 2 rumours this week. The Forest link will not go away, will it? No. He's obviously got the release clause that becomes active this summer, and yet more links to Arsenal. What do we think of both these rumours?
I'm not sure, Feels like he's just been trying to get his foot out the door for a while, and I'm not sure about it.
It was a classic international break manoeuvre, wasn't it? You heard him on international break talking about, I've got potentially a future Champions League level club.
Ambitions about winning trophies, didn't he? It looks like, although he signed that contract this summer, they will be, he might be leaving. So it's where you think he's best suited out of the two, really.
It's
Or
funny
anywhere
because
else.
I actually said a few months ago, I was like, I think Arsenal is a good move for him. But looking at the direction that Arsenal are trying to go in, obviously they've got a new sporting director as well. I don't think they're going down the Cunha route. I saw him say that he wants to go to a team to win titles, and I'm not trying to disrespect Nottingham Forest or anything like that, but if that's his aim, I don't see Nottingham Forest winning titles. I see them progressive club, and they've done an amazing thing getting into Champions League. But if he's saying that he wants to go and win titles, is Forest a team that he goes to?
He won't go to Arsenal either if he wants to win titles.
Had to get the dig in.
If he wants to go second, he can go there.
Yeah. I just, now when I'm looking at this Arsenal team, I'm thinking, where does he fit?
Could he play on the left?
He is quite versatile, though. That is
He
one
is,
thing
but
you
is
do have
he
to
a
say
left
with that.
winger,
He-
though?
He can play in multiple positions.
Is
just
he a
not
left
sure.
winger?
I'm just not too sure. I think he's a great player, don't get me wrong. I think he's pretty much kept Wolves up, but he's quite a hothead as well. I'm not too sure. I don't think he'll do too badly. If I could put him anywhere, I'd probably put him in between those two categories.
Yeah.
I think he could just be sort of a mare, but
For Forest,
Yeah.
I think he'll be a better signing than it'll be.
I agree with that,
Arsenal,
actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think 17 Premier League goal involvements. You watch
Yeah.
him this season.
He's a really
Wolves
good
for a team
player.
at the bottom end
Yeah.
of the season. I think there'd be a lot of clubs in for him.
Yeah.
Get off the fence then. Which club's
one are you
going
going
with?
Ooh, well, I don't know. I'm gonna go miss with Arsenal.
I'm gonna do. Yeah, I think that works.
What about with?
And I
Forest?
think maybe hit with Forest. Yeah.
hit with Forest.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I'll give you that.
Nice. Off
Right,
the
Cams,
fence.
want to get your
Wow.
big take on this, because we've got 3 players linked with Manchester United, always players linked with Man United, aren't they? Ekitike, who I'm very worried about as a Spurs fan, because we come up against Frankfurt next week. Osimhen at Galatasaray, Liam Delap at Ipswich, all 3 of them, 3 top players, all linked with Man United. So just intrigued to get your thoughts from a United fan's perspective. Who would be your first choice out of those 3, and what you think of all of them?
My first choice will be Osimhen. I think it's about time that Man United get a striker in that's in his prime years. You know, I think we haven't signed a striker in their prime years since Romelu Lukaku. I think that was the last one. Other than that, they're either too young or they're too old. We get them at the wrong time. And I think Osimhen is primed and ready to come and make impact. He's doing brilliant things right now at Galatasaray. He's kind of slipped through the back door going over there. He's not going to be going back to Napoli at the moment. So I think Osimhen is the one that Man United need to go out and get. Big, he's got pace, he knows where the goal is, and he's experienced. This guy led Napoli to their first title since Diego Maradona. This is a proven player. So Osimhen will be my first choice.
His record's ridiculous at every club he's been.
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And these 2 players, I really, really love these 2. You know, Liam Delap is somebody at the start of the season I said to watch out for, and he's having a brilliant season. I said, I think he'll be in the World Cup squad eventually.
Yeah, I agree.
Hugo Ekitike, saw him against England under-21s the other day, scored a hat-trick. He was brilliant. Haven't seen as much of him in his league, but I know his qualities as well. He kind of giving everybody a little bit of vibes of a Isak a little bit. But I just think right now I want Manchester United to have a proven striker up there, because it's a different kettle of fish at United. You come in, the pressure of the club, the size of the club, it's just so different. And I don't want 2 young players learning their trade or developing in that kind of environment.
What do you think, Luke? Obviously, you've got the buyback on Liam.
Yeah, we got the buyback on Liam Delap. I think it's about 40 million. I don't see City ever going back in for Delap, but the option's there. I just hope he doesn't go to United. I think he's a great player, and I think, you know, the goals he's been getting in that Ipswich side, he's probably not got the consistency behind him. We know Ipswich haven't done too well this season, on like 20 points, but he scored a lot of their goals, and I think he's a real threat. So I wouldn't like to see him go to United, and I actually personally don't think it would be the best move for him.
Yeah.
I think in terms of United, they're probably looking at Osimhen there being the only guarantee of goals, in my opinion, just because young players don't work out at United.
Yeah.
Do you think it's realistic that Osimhen would join United?
I do. I think so. Listen, he's a Nigerian. I'm a Nigerian. United is the pinnacle. You know what I mean? If United come for you as a Nigerian, you go over there. Igalo was praying that other people don't get the United road. You know what I mean? Because if you get, as a Nigerian, if you can be linked to Manchester United, it's a massive thing back home. You know what I mean? So majority of people support United as well. So Osimhen, I think he'll run over here. You know, I think he'll run here.
Okay,
so I'm going to put the hit.
He's going in hit. Are either of the other 2 going to go in hit if that happens?
I think they both miss, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, fortunately.
Fortunately for you.
This is
Surely
I think Liam Delap, by the way, I think if you watch the range of goals he does and his hold-up plays, he's the youngest player, I believe, to reach double figures for Premier League goals this season. To get 10 goals, 2 assists.
Nothing against Delap, but I just don't think United is the right place for him. That's why. Yeah, I think Liam Delap hits at most clubs, to be honest, but United, I think he doesn't.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to go, because of not as familiar, I'll put Ekitike in here. And I think the way he plays as well, I'm not too sure how suited it is to what Manchester United are doing at the moment. Delap, I'm going to go hit. I'm going to go hit.
Okay.
I'm going to go. And that's nothing against the player, by the way. There's nothing against the player.
Fair enough. Next up, we've got a rumour that's resurfaced this week. It went a bit quiet, didn't it? But I think The Guardian reporting that Nico Williams to Arsenal could well be back on with the new sporting director, Berta, coming through the door. I mean, he was electric at the Euros. Good again for Bilbao.
So I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Nico, and I think this is a signing that Arsenal should be making. No disrespect to Martinelli, but I do think they need to kind of upgrade in that area. As you mentioned, what he was doing in the Euros, the technical ability, the speed that he can play inside as well. Like, he was combining inside the pitch, central areas. He can take you down the line. I just think he's a very, very good player. And people are looking at his stats. He doesn't really get too much stats, but again, I keep saying, I think in an Arteta team, in an Arteta system, it will go up. Stats are circumstantial. You know what I mean?
We live in a stats era, don't we? But you can look at players that don't put up the stat. Like we were talking about Bernardo Silva and players like that in the past. It's not all about stats. I know kids nowadays love looking at the goals and assists.
I know what you mean.
But it's not all about that sometimes, and I think he's a great player.
I remember looking at Modric when I had my season ticket at Spurs, and his numbers, you look at his comparable to goals and assists, were lower than a lot of midfielders. But I remember, if you watch him for 90 minutes, everything went through him, and it's no surprise he had the career. I always look at that as a signing. And I just think, if you look at what Spain did with Williams and Yamal, and you look at what Arsenal have got with the thought of Saka and Williams, I mean, that's just a perfect player for Arteta's system, surely.
Let's get him up then.
Stick him up.
Surely a hit.
Okay, next one. Romero to Atletico Madrid. Yeah, I'm being made to read this one out as Spurs.
This is a great fit, isn't it? This is the most Simeone player of all time.
Everyone can see that, can't they? I think.
Yeah. I think the level that he plays at, like when he's playing with Argentina and stuff, a World Cup winner, I think eventually there's going to come a time where he does think he should be playing regular Champions League football. He should be competing for titles. So, as you mentioned, perfect Diego Silva. I'm sorry, I know this one's hurting you, Smithy. I know it's hurting you.
He's loved by the fans, living in London. He's got a nice,
It's not enough. It's not enough.
If you were Romero this summer, would you be saying, I think that I've had my time at Tottenham now, I want to go to the level where I can compete at Champions League level?
We're talking about stats. He can go there and make history. He could get 50 yellow cards. So, I think that actually is a really good signing for Atletico.
Go on then.
How much would he cost to get out of Spurs?
What do you think?
What's his contract?
At the start of the season, Spurs fans
talking
about him being the best defender in Europe.
Yeah, but Spurs fans sometimes.
What are you saying? I think it depends on what they'd ask. Would they ask 50?
Depends on his contract. I'm not
sure.
Let's
get it out. We've got time for one more. Right, last one.
One more.
What you got? A player that has impressed us massively this season. 19 years of age, Dean Howson, 6'6". What a player! But I mean, I think with Real Madrid,
that's a huge move, isn't it? From
potentially.
That's a huge jump. I think Howson he's maybe caught nearly everybody by surprise about how good he's been. Like, the fact that Juventus let him go is incredible now. When you look back at it, apparently backroom staff have said it was a massive mistake.
Yeah.
He has been so good. He's so cool. He's so calm. But Real Madrid, I know they were looking for Leniero last season, so I'm guessing maybe that's their kind of aim to get a young centre-half in. But Asensio at Real Madrid has emerged now. You know what I mean? With the injuries that they've had of Militao, he's emerged and he's been brilliant. So, I don't know, I'm sorry, Arsenal fans, but when I think about Real Madrid going for a centre-half, I'm still thinking about Saliba ending up at Real Madrid. And I think this is a big jump.
Stick him up then.
Big jump.
Stick him up. Where do you put him?
I think if Real Madrid want him, they'll get him. But I'm not sure if that's a bit early in his career. I think he's 19. I think it's a big jump to go from Bournemouth. And, Bournemouth have been good this season. We just knocked them out, obviously, the FA Cup. They've done well to get that far. They have dropped off a little bit lately, and maybe that's because, he was suspended for a little bit, actually.
Yeah.
They're getting raided in the summer.
They are getting raided.
So what are we putting him?
Okay, put him in a miss.
I think it's a miss. I think it's a miss.
As a
bit
rumour.
early.
What
As a
player?
rumour, okay.
All these 4 players are brilliant players.
Yeah,
just caveat
Disclaimer.
that.
No one's going to listen to you, mate. They're just going to see a screenshot.
Yeah.
Just a
I know you're saying
screenshot.
young profile. Maybe it's better. Like what Arsenal did with Sleeve, loan them out for a bit.
Yeah.
Get your minutes in before that break. Top player. I think we can all agree. Okay, let us know what you think of those hit and miss placements by our guests. Get involved at home. Let us know what you think.